This is Waddon Marsh on the tram link. I admit I'm really pushing the definition of a tale from the tube with this one, but I was just kind of curious about this stop. I'll explain why shortly, but first let's have a little history lesson. Waddon Marsh used to be a railway station on the Wimbledon to Croydon line, about 100 yards from the current tram stop. It opened in 1930, which is pretty late for a railway station in Britain. The Southern Railway, who owned the line at the time, had high hopes. They had recently electrified this line, which was usually a good way to attract passengers. It was what was called the Sparks effect. This area already had a gasworks and 2 power stations, and a new housing estate was being built. It wasn't much as stations go. It had a single timber platform, a footbridge, a shelter, a passing loop, some goods sidings, and a signal box. Unfortunately, the line didn't really live up to expectations. The hope was that the electric trains would make the railway attractive to passengers, and the popularity of the railway would encourage development along the route, which in turn would bring more passengers. Unfortunately, that didn't quite happen. There was competition from road transport, and too much of the land along the route was set aside for other purposes. Actually, the service was considered for withdrawal in the 50s under British Railways, who had taken the Southern over in 1948. It was still heavily used by goods trains, though, and the conclusion reached by BR was that there was so little passenger traffic that removing the service would barely save them any money. In other words, the service was so underused that it wasn't even worth ending, which sounds absolutely bizarre now that I say it out loud. The station slowly declined over the following decades. It was updated in the 1960s, but lost its siding and passing loop in the 70s. The signal box closed and was demolished in the 80s. What remained of the station limped on into the 90s. In 1997 it was closed to make way for the trams and demolished completely. The tram link with its new Waddon Marsh tram stop opened in 2000. So why have I even bothered to make a video about it? A nothing station that never reached its full potential. There have been lots of stations like that, surely. Well, there was something interesting I spotted about this one, and don't call me Shirley. The station was approached by way of a concrete path, and the path is still there. And here we see the last remnants of Waddon Marsh Station. Look at these faded red street lamps and this little section of fence. This is the colour scheme used by British Rail up until privatisation, and nearly a quarter of a century later, it's still here. I spotted the lamps from the tram, and that's what inspired me to make this video. So that's Waddon Marsh for you. Never much to look at, but not entirely gone. Hi all, I hope you enjoyed this pinkish tale from the tube. If you did, then please do hit like, share and subscribe. Would you like to see more videos about the tram link and its ancestry? Let me know in the comments section, and I will see you again soon for another tale from the tube.